Here we are.
Yo,
Jim, the Surrey chat. We are here. We are live. Little bit of a technical behind the scenes issue there, but we covered it nicely. We managed to make it on time. And what a lovely day it's been today, chaps. Hey, the sun has been shining.
Beautiful, isn't it? Stunning.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have a decent summer.
On appointments today.
So you've not seen much of it. You've not seen much of it then, Chris. You've just been out and about.
I've been out and about all day, so cool coming in. But no tops today.
Nice.
On viewing. So.
Very nice.
Yep.
Good.
It would.
There we go. Look, so we've got the message up there. Just thought we'd kick off the chat. Just 2 years. I mean, wow. 2 years has gone so fast, and it's exploded. It's just exploded, hasn't it, chaps? And without kind of talking about too much around it, I guess the main thing for all of the avocado partners, in the washed out photo there that are on there, it's just been a bit of a life changer for all of us, I think. And it's been a hell of a lot of fun. There's a hell of a lot more fun to come. And I guess just use this opportunity while we're live to say thanks to all the clients that have used us, that are using us, and that will use us, really, I would say. Is probably fair, isn't it, Chris?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been bonkers, isn't it? The last 2 years. I don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know where it's gone. I literally do not know where it's gone. The fact that we're nearly halfway through the year as well this year, it blows my mind. I know it's because we're all blooming busy, which is awesome, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But I don't know where the time's going at the moment.
No, it's the market.
I'll be 50 shortly.
The market's been crazy. The way that people have taken to the Model Lee has been phenomenal, hasn't it? And we know we're not for everyone. We don't want to be for everyone. We want to really help a specific type of client across the journey of moving home, whether it's up or down. Often it's with families in mind, and we all can relate to that because all of us on this call at least have got kids, and we understand the stresses of it. But that's the difference, I think, really, Lee, isn't it? Is we want to try and support those local communities. Yeah,
100%. And obviously, we're 2 years old, and we set out with a goal to be completely different from your high street, a different option. And like you rightly said there, Ian, we're not going to be for everybody. But ultimately what we do, we're passionate about. It's all about that quality customer service and that customer journey, and providing a completely different service to what the industry's been used to for too many years. And exactly. I think it's testament in the fact that we're 2 years down the line. We've grown to the size that we have. Helped over 1,000 people move since we started 2 years ago, which is just crazy numbers considering. Isn't it? Where you and Mike first started, 2 years today, and then where I came in a couple of weeks after that, to where we are now, and we haven't even started. We haven't even started. So looking forward to what the next 12 months and 24 months brings, really.
Well, one of the things that will be changing is Tristan sat there in the current HQ. It wasn't the first HQ. The first HQ was a 2-person office with a window looking over Morrison's and 2 chairs that if anyone came in to do any training and work, we didn't have a third chair for them. So,
it was probably smaller than this bedroom.
You're probably right. Half
the size of that.
It just shows what you can do with a business when you do right by the client, and every decision that's made is around the client. So, Tristan, you got your coat on today. Are you feeling okay, buddy?
I'm all good. Do you know what? The aircon's in the office. It's actually freezing in here. So I literally just put it on a few minutes ago, but it's been warm the rest of the day. It's just, for some reason, it's not on, but it's freezing in here.
Love that. Chris, I'm going to jump straight into you. This is the Surrey chat. It's an opportunity to talk about what's going on in Surrey. So let's just kick off by talking about Camberley, Frimley, some of the surrounding areas. How's the market in comparison to where it was in January? And what's going on at the moment? And what do you expect to happen?
Lots of interesting questions there.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, summarising, we know what happened in January, February, March, April. It's been crazy. But I was doing some stat checking today. I don't often get involved in stats because I deal with the here and the now. But it's always good just to have a look at what's been going on, and in particular the last fortnight. Now, just for GU15, so this is just for Camberley. But there's been 63 new listings in 2 weeks in Camberley amongst all of us agents, and 29 price reductions. So that's a total of 92. Quick maths. Out of those, 9 of them have sold.
Mm.
And this is very. I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, panic trend." The market is dying. It's not. It's just it's very, very interesting because obviously, we shout about what we're doing all the time. Other agents shout about what they're doing all the time. But the last 2 weeks, only 9 properties in GU15 have sold, and two of them are mine. So there's 12 agents, I think, in Camberley at the moment. So it's very, very interesting. And actually, I'd love to hear from some other estate agents, to be fair, if anyone's watching this, as to what their thoughts are. But the stats are GU15, last 14 days, essentially 92 listings, but obviously 29 of those, as I say, are price reductions, but only 9 of them have sold. That's 9.7%, I think. So, yeah, it's gone on well for me. So I'm not sitting here saying this is a trend, but then I think the last few properties that I've listed, mixture of flats and apartments, some, as always, some have gone crazy, some haven't. And I think the interesting thing for me in the last fortnight is the ones I thought would go crazy haven't, and the ones that I didn't necessarily expect to go crazy have. And again, it's not a trend because this is just the stats from the last 14 days. I'll see if we get a trend in the next 14 days when I do it again. But I think it's quite interesting, and it'd be interesting to know, certainly from my learned colleagues, Lee's side of things, obviously with the Cranleigh side of things, how things are going over there. So it's interesting, and I'm sure hopefully some of our fellow partners will have a look at their stats, and it'll be interesting to see if there is a trend across all of our patches. So, but look, it's still great. It's still super, super busy. There has been more coming on. I think my register at the moment is probably one of the largest it's been. That might be reflected in what I've just said in terms of maybe there's a bit of a turn happening, or a slow up perhaps in these crazy prices that we've all seen. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I think as Matt put there, he said he's in the Reading area. He's seen more price reductions. I think overall there is more property for sale at the moment than what there was maybe 8 weeks ago. I think that's for sure. And we are seeing with the Zoopla stats that there's actually 6% more properties coming to the market year to date in comparison to what we need. Yeah, in comparison to the last 5-year average. So that's a fair average to look at. So although it seems like the market's been bonkers, and it has, and everything's selling very quickly, if you still have that increase of supply, demand can't carry on like that forever. At some point, it has to go from like that to kind of like that, doesn't it?
The trajectory's got to change, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting that Matt sees over in the Reading area a few more price reductions that he's noticing with agents. And I think it's important to highlight that there's a lot going on at the moment. We talk about the inflation report this morning. I don't think it surprised anyone that it was up at 9%. But I think when you actually see it in reality, in print, in front of you, it's still
work all out what it means.
Yeah. And I was on a training course today, nothing to do with property actually, and she was mentioning about obviously the cost of living crisis at the moment, and the phrase that she used was "eat or heat," and which was quite interesting because if it does go to that level of difficulty, what could happen to the property market. I don't think it will crash or anything crazy like that, or even go down in price, because people need somewhere to live. But will it go as mental as it has been? Probably not. And maybe we've reached the point where we won't see 1.5% increases a month. We might see that over 3 or 4 months, and it just might be a bit easier to kind of keep up with the market, which I'm sure people that are searching and buyers out there would be super happy about it. Someone's just said what? So Herschel, I don't know what you're saying what to, but we're happy to answer any questions. So pop it in the comments and we will get to the what point. Chris, anything else that you think will happen, or any advice that you would give to buyers searching at the moment?
I think as far as buyers goes, I'd echo the same thing that we've said on quite a few of these chats now, in terms of buyers the demand is still lower than ideally we would like. So it's not us moaning about the fact there's more property coming on the market now. It's what we've wanted for the last 2 years. And it's now happening. And we knew that will cause a bit of a slow up. But I think as far as buyers go, just be mega prepared. Don't really go out viewing unless you know you can get a mortgage for a start, and obviously at the level that you're anticipating being able to get as much done as you can without having to have a property you're actually going to buy. So get out there knowing full well you can afford what you're looking at. You're in a position to be able to make an offer on it. But, and I know again, I'm sorry we've said it before, but I think cash is no longer king. Timeframes and flexibility with buyers are probably as important now as they've ever been. But just having that time flexibility to, especially when you have a seller that needs to find, because chains have to start somewhere. That in every single instance, and eventually there'll be a no chain or a vacant property at the top of that chain, and that just takes time. And I've got a few of them at the moment, and bless my buyers, super patient. But we have that conversation at the very first seconds of crossing the threshold on a viewing. Right, here's the situation: sellers need to find, haven't found somewhere yet, want to move ASAP, but need to find. Making people understand, well, not making people, setting expectations, I think advice is massively critical. And therefore, whilst we all get a bit impatient, if you're waiting for a couple of months and the chain still isn't complete, rightly so. You can't wait forever. And I've had a case of that this month where the buyers just haven't been able to wait. And look, it's I completely understand. I get it. They were expecting twins. They had to really get moved by July, and it just wasn't going to happen. Look, not a problem. Accept that completely. But they waited 4 months. Fair enough. But it's not that people can't wait forever. So I think flexibility is one of the most important things that I can suggest any buyer has at the moment. Unless if they don't have flexibility, will it only be vacant properties or properties have no onward chain?
Yeah, absolutely. So Herschel's maybe come back, and he said, how do I buy a property with a low income?
Good question.
Which is a great question. And obviously the way that anyone buys a property is, in reality, 2 different ways. They either buy outright with cash, or they put a deposit down and get the rest mortgage. And the percentage shift for mortgage versus cash at the moment is anywhere from 5% cash to 95% loan. And obviously you can get a loan all the way to the other end of the spectrum. So without knowing individual details, if you've got a low income and you've got a high cash pot, then in reality, you're looking at kind of something like 4 or 5 times your income plus your cash pot. And if you don't have a huge cash pot, then you need to probably look at different locations where values are lower. That's the answer to the question in reality. Whether it's the response you want or not, I don't know, but that's probably the only answer you can give. So if you've got high cash and low income, obviously do the income multiples, speak to a mortgage advisor, 4.5, 5 times income plus your cash pot as a rule of thumb. And then if you don't have a huge cash pot, but you've got a smaller deposit, whatever those 2 added together are is what you can potentially buy a property at. And then you need to search the country to where that average house price sits and purchase there. And if you can't afford in the area that you want to be, save more money. And hopefully at some point you'll be able to. But in terms of individual details, myself, Tristan, Lee, Chris, you can DM any of us. We can offer some advice. If you want to talk to a broker, we can set you up with a call with a broker as well that could potentially help you. And it's a great question. And thank you for getting involved with the live chat and asking. But hopefully that helps give you a bit of an idea of what to do next. So talking next, Lee, Chris is kind of here in Surrey and you're kind of here, Woking and Guildford in between. So how's the market where you are? And I know you've been doing a bit of business in Farnborough. You've been doing a bit of business in a few other areas as well. So overall, from sort of Surrey and touching into Hampshire a little bit as well, how have you found the market?
Yeah, I think a bit like Chris, they're certainly seeing that things have not necessarily slowed down a little bit, but I definitely feeling that properties are taking a little bit longer to sell. There's still plenty of buyers around, and it was interesting that I was speaking to Chris earlier on, and he was obviously going through his stats, and it's interesting actually how many properties are being reduced at the moment. And I think obviously from a we touched on it earlier on from a price point of view. Obviously it was always going to get to a point where it started to plateau prices, and then we'll start seeing it sort of come downwards perhaps a little bit. Who knows? But I also, because I think stock's been so hard to get hold of for a lot of estate agents, that maybe there is a little bit of estate agents overvaluing to get the properties on the market in the first instance, thinking that that because obviously demand is high, all of a sudden people will pay those prices for them, and then 2, 3, 4 weeks it's still not sold, and they're having to actually realign the prices to maybe what it should have been on the market for from day one. I think that there's always been that in in estate agency, regardless of what the market is, where agents are fighting to get stock on the market. So maybe we are seeing a little bit of that as well, sort of creeping in. But the market's still decent. There's still plenty of buyers around. There's still plenty of properties coming to market. Still a lot of people wanting to move. Obviously valuation levels are still decent. And there's a lot of people wanting to move, but maybe not quite seeing that property on the market, and they're not wanting to take that jump. I think there's still a lot of people sat on the fence waiting for those sort of properties to come on before they then start, getting the confidence that what they're looking for is out there.
Yeah, totally. A great point. And I think it is difficult out there for estate agents when not necessarily the owners, but just the people that are working in the agency business, when they're in a position where, they're under big pressure to get targets hit and do business, and at the same time they can't find the business. Sometimes, and we've spoke about it before, what does happen is they do put the prices up a little bit, and it's a shame that it happens, but I think the public are more or less aware of it now. And what it shows is maybe prices have gone up at the start of the year significantly, especially when you look at Chris's data there, and actually 2 months later they've caught up, but they're not catching up quite as quickly at the moment, which is why maybe the stock's not selling quite as fast.
Yeah.
Tristan, what about from a Surrey point of view, in and around the area? What's the rental market like? Is there a lot of properties on the market in Surrey? Is there not much on the market at the moment? How's the rental market?
So I've got the reverse effect of what these guys have. I'm still crazy busy. I had one that come onto Kingsley Avenue, lovely location in Camberley.
You're welcome.
Come on a couple of days ago. Currently undergoing a refurb. And first appointments, I've got 2 offers on it. One of them's £200 over asking price. It's a very good rental price in comparison to what's previously let. And I had a one-off viewing yesterday on another property that's being brought by an investor, and that person's offered full asking based upon sort of the information I gave. So finding tenants in a very quick timescale is not an issue for me. There are properties popping up, but they're going just as quick. I mean, if you look at the average of that report there, the average in the UK is 14 days to let a property. Most of the properties I go out to are let on first appointments with multiple offers. And that hasn't seemed to have changed for a long period of time now. So it will eventually change, but as it stands, I don't think you have the slide for this, Ian, but there was a report recently that was released saying that the listings coming to market on a 3-year comparison is down by 28%. Mm-hmm. So when you've got that, less properties coming to market, you're going to find there's a lot of people, obviously demand's up, less properties coming to market, it's just going to continue. So unless more come to market, I don't see that changing anytime soon personally. Same as prices. Prices have gone up substantially, and they went up again last month by 1.7%. So it just shows the demand out there.
And I know that's a little bit small for everyone, but you can probably see that it's effectively green in terms of next to the average house price for rental. So more or less everywhere across the country, it's going up. It's just whether it's going up 6% year on year in Scotland or 7.6% year on year in the southeast. What's quite interesting for me, though, on that one, Tristan, is London is back with a boom. And we were talking about this on a partner chat maybe about 6 weeks ago, where we felt we see the trends of what buyers and sellers are doing. And there was chatter that a lot of people had moved out of London and actually they miss London and the hustle and bustle and just having everything on your doorstep. They were quite sad to see that not all of their friends had moved out and their communities and the way that they live is back in London. And you can see that because in the last 12 months, the average price of rental is 15.7% up in London, which is miles higher than anywhere else. So maybe London is back. I don't know. What do you think?
I reckon so. Like I said, I think based on the podcast we had with the managing director of DPS, he said exactly that. A lot of people are moving out of London from what they can see. And they go into coastal locations because they're not needing to commute in for work. But I think the reason people are coming back, people are starting to return to offices, and people are starting to want to go back and socialise with their friends and whatnot. And London's obviously a prime spot for that. I do still see a lot of people staying outside of London, especially with like Crossrail and the commutes in. You can get into London just as quick, really. But you can certainly see the increase that London's had. But we've had just not as much, but quite a substantial increase as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned the podcast there. I'm going to put in the comments a link to Friday's podcast episode. It's only an 8-minute episode. It's with Tristan and Mike. It's really interesting data in there. It actually says how many landlords have come out of the market recently and what the deficit is. And that's why rental prices are actually going up at the moment. So, you know, for tenants, affordability, cost of living is going up, but also because there's less landlords. And I know first-time buyers are quite anti-landlords coming to the market, but because there's less landlords, rental prices are up, which if you are renting as a first-time buyer, it's probably making it harder for you to get on the ladder. So actually, if some more landlords come to the market, we can plug the gap of potentially rental prices going up quite as high. But check out that episode because it explains a lot of it. So, Chris, we've spoke about, I guess we're not being negative, but maybe being quite realistic on this chat. But it's a glorious day today. Photos of everything that is going live look absolutely beautiful with the blue sky. You know, a 4K iPhone camera just takes an outside photo like, you know, no other camera can do, really. The contrast on the iPhone for an outside photo is phenomenal. But what's
you're not plugging the iPhone there?
Say what?
I said you're not plugging the iPhone though, are you?
No, sorry, Tristan's an Android guy.
You can't be called Avocado and be sponsored by Apple.
Pictures.
Avocado. Yeah, sorry, Tristan. But they are good. And to be fair, the other Androids and the other phones at the moment are probably as good as any with the camera.
I think it's more the user.
Yeah, user.
Probably.
But one thing I have definitely noticed across the Avocado group is a lot more beat the portals over the last kind of 10 days. So I think there's a lot of listings coming to the market. I'll raise this point just because we're talking about the market. I did a beat the portals on Friday. I had quite a few direct messages. I launched it on Rightmove and Zoopla today. And on the back of the video, I put a call to action on the video saying WhatsApp Ian and my mobile number. And I did that, launched it about an hour and a half ago. On this chat, I've had 3 WhatsApps come straight to me off the back of that. So it is still bonkers, the market. It's just...
Yes, social media doesn't sell houses.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when we're talking about that video launch that premiered on our Facebook page before it went live on the portals, the phone's gone crazy since then. So if it's marketed properly, this is where we come into our own, and this is why I bring it up. If a property's marketed well, you'll get the best price available and you'll find the buyer out there that's right for you. But it has to be marketed correctly, and that includes a serious social media campaign, which I know, Lee, when we spoke, you know, we said it's a 2-year anniversary today, but when we spoke very early on, before we'd even launched, actually, that was one thing that me and you clicked on straight away, was how vital digital marketing can actually be for the client. And, you know, where you are, I know you've sold a lot of properties just through Beat the Portals or through your social media. Do you think that's here to stay? And is that kind of the future of the industry?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I think it's, you know, the more we do it, and obviously we are seeing other agents follow suit in their own way. You know, however that sort of looks.
Is that follow suit or follow in suits?
Follow in suits.
Bit of both.
Follow in.
Don't start. I've
got a smart today. I've got a collar on.
just need the tie. Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, funny enough, I was on evaluation yesterday, and it's one that's come from a recommendation from another client of mine. And you know, I was having a chat in the living room, and you know, and obviously they'd only heard about us from, you know, from their friends who obviously whose property I sold, but you know, they were just like, you know, tell us about what you do and how you sell it, and you know, because obviously they you know, they've been following us a little bit, but they didn't really know a huge amount. And obviously I was just, you know, explaining about how we are different, how, you know, social media is changing the way, you know, not only estate agency but business in general nowadays, because obviously we are seeing a lot of different industries now marketing on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and the likes, and it is becoming the way business does business through social media, not just our industry.
Yeah.
And they absolutely loved it, and you know, one of the clients came around to me, she said, you know, do you think Rightmove and Zoopla, do you think you'll need those in a couple of years' time? I don't know, possibly not. You know, there is an argument, and certainly you only have to look at what we're doing as a brand and a business, and all the partners within Avocado, you know, and your example therein is testament to that. The fact that it's not on Rightmove yet, it's not on Zoopla, it's not on, you know, the main portals that a traditional estate agent will do, and you're already, you know, booking in 3, 4, 5, 6 viewings. It could already be sold before you even get a chance to click that button to send it live. And then, you know, there could be an argument at some point soon is, do we need to, you know, do we need to market on those platforms?
I'd probably go as far as saying right now, if it's done properly, we don't need Rightmove and Zoopla. But I think the public have bought into the concept of Rightmove particularly so much that there's a fear and a phobia that if an estate agent's not on Rightmove,
like they need it.
Yeah. So I think technically we don't need it, but from the public security, they still want it. And I think I said in one of these chats before, until 21% of estate agents come away from Rightmove, the second it goes below 80% of agents are on Rightmove, that's when Rightmove loses its power, because then you know that, you know, over 20% of agents aren't even on Rightmove. So then the power goes back to the agent, because you have to register with different agents, because you effectively know more than 2 out of 10 agents aren't advertising their properties on Rightmove, and you don't want to miss out on 20% of the properties. So yeah. Chris, single best thing about living in the Camberley Frimley area from your point of view?
Oh, that I live here.
That's the reason not to buy there.
It was the easy answer, wasn't it? Best thing. I'd say the community, really. I mean, I've been here all of my 40 years, believe it or not. And yeah, I know a lot of people, and you know, through friends, family, and you know, went to school here and everything. So it's lovely. I'm not saying I'm a celebrity. I'm absolutely not, and I wouldn't want to be. But I'm just saying, when you go out, you see, you bump into people, you know, and I think that's lovely around here, and it happens all the time. And you know, just a good bunch, you know, huge demographic of types of people, and from all walks of life and all different places in the world. And I just think it's a very well-rounded community. Everything is here, and for everything that's not here, it's within 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, and Tristan, from your point of view, for people looking to invest or a tenant looking to move to Camberley, from a landlord point of view, first of all, what do you think is the best thing about investing in the Surrey area?
Do you know what I really like about it, especially Camberley, for example, is there's such lovely big houses that don't normally come up very often. So someone's looking for that extra space, but looking to reduce the cost from like a London location, for example, it's perfect for them.
Ideal, isn't it?
The amount of people I deal with day to day that come there because of that is unbelievable. And the two people that I had today, that they both of them lived a couple of roads away from Kingsley Avenue. They said they love the spot. It's great for them. It's good for their kids, and it's close to town as well. So it ticked all the boxes for them. So if anyone's got a 4, 5, or 6 bed detached, then definitely reach out, because I have had one person miss out. Not trying to plug myself or anything.
Yeah,
do it.
You just did, and there's no problem with it at all. And Lee, you know, you get around. You've lived in a few places. You're now settled in Cranleigh with your family. You know, the high street's lovely. It's very village location, and you've sponsored a few of the local schools as well. But for anyone looking to move in and around that area, what would you say is the best piece of advice you would give to a new buyer moving to the location?
I think the best piece of advice I can give is just, you know, have a drive round, get a feel for the area, because obviously, I mean, there's, you know, around here, I mean, it's you know, completely different from, you know, from the likes of Camberley, where, you know, that's a big sort of town stroke, you know, almost you know, a larger town in that respect. Whereas obviously, you know, around here there's a lot of smaller villages, and I mean, they're all beautiful, they're all, you know, very picturesque, and you know, very appealing in their own right. But yeah, just you know, drive around the area, get to feel for it. You know, the reason we bought and we live here is, you know, we're so close to Guildford, you know, which is, you know, a huge city, just sort of 10-15 minutes up the road. But then we've just got so much green open space, and you know, the Surrey Hills directly behind us. And you know, and again, a bit like what Chris said, you know, from a community perspective, you know, you go into Cranleigh on a Saturday, it's absolutely heaving. You know, absolutely heaving. You know, all the little bespoke cafes, they've all got the tables outside, and everybody's out there, you know, having breakfast, you know, in the sun with their dogs and the kids, and, you know, meeting friends. And, you know, you see the cycling, you know, the local cycling club go past, and, you know, the cricket pitch is always, again, heaving with activity. And that's just lovely. You know, you got that real lovely village feel. But there's just a huge sense of community as well. And everybody's, you know, everybody's so, you know, friendly, but then it's so close to everything from a commuter perspective as well. And I think that's why, you know, again, people like Surrey, irrespective of where they move, is that, you know, if you do work in London, you know, you are no more than an hour from door to door to getting back into the centre of London. And
I think for anyone, Surrey's got so many of these lovely little villages. Some are not that little, but so many little villages, medium-sized villages all around the Surrey area. And I think it's great advice that you give to a buyer that's looking to go more rural. Maybe they are moving out of the centre of Guildford, or out of the centre of Camberley or Woking, or wherever it may be. And they want to stay close to family and friends, but they just want to move 5, 6, 10 miles outside of those centres to somewhere where it is a bit more rural. And I think driving around on a Saturday morning, spending the day in the village, having a cup of coffee in one of the
local cafes, just
do a bit of lunch in the local pub, and see what the sort of hub and the buzz and the community is like. Chat to a few strangers and just get a flavour for it. I think it's great advice, to be fair, Lee. Really, really good for anyone.
Come and have a chat with me. I'll help out.
Lee knows most of them, if not all of them. He is Mr. Village. So yeah, in terms of Surrey as an area, we spoke about it. We've got some really good market updates from Chris in Camberley, Frimley and surround, Lee, kind of just south of Guildford, and everything going on down there from Tristan in terms of what's going on from a landlord point of view. We've got one last happy birthday come in from Andy. Appreciate that. Let's see what year 3 brings, and could be exciting. Chris?
Yeah, so I'm putting my hand up like I'm at school. Right. One last thing I just wanted to mention. I won't rabbit on too much about it. Lee and I are sponsoring the Mayor's Surrey Heath Jubilee on the Thursday, the 2nd of June, which is being held, in 2 weeks' time at Frimley Lodge Park here in Camberley. It's massive. It's a huge event. There's fun fair, there's concerts, there's loads of displays. There's over 100 stalls. But most importantly, opposite the main stage, Lee and I are going to have a stall there. We've had some stocks made. We're going to be in them, taking in turns. And
you're going to be in them.
You are. I'll lock you in them as well. And we're going to be in them. They're going to be painted pink. There's going to be stuff everywhere. There's prizes. Basically, you can throw sponges, possibly some form of pie yet. We haven't quite decided, but at the very least, sponges at our pretty faces for a donation to charity. And there will be a prize every single time. Adults underarm only. Children, however they want. But so it's a massive event. We absolutely can't wait for it. It's taken a massive amount of organising between us and the Mayor and her team as well. But it's going to be absolutely awesome. It starts at 12. It finishes at 10 in the evening. It's massive. So just come down, barbecue, beer tent, everything. It's going to be awesome. So and it's free.
Is that the Surrey Heath show? Is that right?
No. That was last weekend. This is the Surrey Heath Mayor's Platinum Jubilee, which is being held at Frimley Lodge Park as well. Obviously, the Surrey show was at Frimley Lodge, but this is also at Frimley Lodge. 2nd of June. It's free. There's parking on site. We're opening up 2 fields, so we've got parking for hundreds and hundreds of cars, and it's just going to be awesome and good fun. And we can't wait to meet as many people as we can down there. We're going to be making a bit of a nuisance of ourselves, looking a bit silly, getting sponges thrown at our faces all day. But look, it's going to be good fun, and it's all for 3 really, really good local charities as well. Awesome.
If you could do me a favour on your pages after we go live, after we finished our live, chuck some links in to the comments. Do it on the avocado page as well, just so that everyone can see what you're talking about. That'd be great. It's great you guys are sponsoring it. You've been involved in making sure it happens as well. Looking forward to that one. So I get to throw water at you and sponges, yeah?
No,
yes, you do, yeah.
We get pies.
Avocado pies.
We'll see.
Love that. Avocado.
We're trying to find avocado sponges, but we can't find them at the moment. But either way, it'll be a laugh and it'll be good fun.
I got one for Christmas once, so I will hunt you down some avocado sponges.
Brilliant.
Love that. Right, chaps, it's been a really good chat, and it's great to hear the hustle and bustle and the buzz and everything that's going on in Surrey. If anyone's got a property that they want to sell or let, get in contact with these guys here. We would love to help you. If you're a buyer and you're searching desperately, you can't find something at the moment, get in contact with them as well. We can help you with what to do to get that off-market property. And if you're not on the market and you can't find, and you've got something exclusive and specific you're looking for, talk to Chris and Lee. They've got a way of finding properties that aren't on the market. We've got a piece of software which we can use. We can write on your behalf. We can tell you how many of them that are available in that village or town, and we can hopefully find one, whether it's now or in the next 10 months. We'll find one for you if they're available. So get in contact with these guys and we can definitely help you. All things property. Herschel, thanks for your comments earlier. I'm going to get you in touch with a mortgage advisor. And chaps, have a lovely evening.
Take care.
Awesome. See you later, guys. Bye.